Many thanks to Vet Traction Vanilla servers, One Original DayZ servers, Clash Vanilla servers, Sgt. Pepper's DayZ Invasion servers, Sea of Tools Cloud, Double Tap, DayZ Damned Hardcore and Vanilla servers, and We That Remain roleplay for making this video possible. With the release of DayZ Frostline comes the hardest map to survive on, so in this video I'm going to help you keep all of these stats in the white forever, explain the best and worst methods of getting around Sakhal, and how to completely avoid the sicknesses commonly found on this map. Due to the cold draining your hunger faster and giving you the worst sickness in DayZ, getting and staying warm is an absolute top priority. In most cases then, you'll want to choose gear that has the best insulation possible, with the insulation value here being greatly reduced by two different factors. The first is the quality level of your gear, with badly damaged offering almost no protection and pristine offering the best. You can repair your gear with sewing kits, leather sewing kits and duct tape, but as a fresh spawn it's best to just swap out lower quality items with higher quality, focusing on the insulation of that piece of gear regardless of armor or camo at the moment. You're not about to go fight people, you're barely surviving the cold. The second factor that reduces insulation value on our gear is how wet that item is, with drenched gear being 100% completely useless when it comes to insulation. The snow on Sakhal does make our gear wet over time based on the intensity of the snow, but it's at a much slower rate than rain on other maps. To counter this, you can bring your most important pieces of clothing such as your pants or your top, working faster than fireplaces at drying, but fireplaces will give you the all-important heat buffer stat. The higher that your total insulation value is, the faster you will get these 3+ icons here, and the longer you will keep this cold protection buff after leaving that fireplace too, as long as you keep your total insulation high by avoiding stuff like water and not running around in a blizzard. However, just being outside will greatly reduce your total insulation value depending on the weather, and so does elevation. So the higher you go above sea level, the lower your total insulation will become, and the more that you'll need to make fires. Being cold massively impacts how quickly your hunger will drain, with the light blue draining your hunger stat many times faster than if you have it white, and slowly gives you the common cold sickness, which can be deadly if untreated in this patch. You can get food easily using the traditional methods of looting buildings, but mostly that food will be frozen, with carrying that food making your character colder, but in turn it makes it defrost over time, so eventually that food that's frozen will become edible. The faster way to defrost your food is by placing it inside the baking slot of an oven type fireplace, but you can defrost all the food that you carry by placing it next to a fire within 2 meters of that fire, but this method is much slower. Frozen food isn't the only disadvantage with this map as well. Fruit trees do not exist on Sakhal, and nor do creating garden plots or planting veggies inside greenhouses. You can still create fishing traps and snare traps, but these are slow, and there are much better methods if you want to go down this road. Fishing. Fishing is the king of getting food on Sakhal, with the steelhead trout giving you edible food immediately if you carve it, which will give you red caviar, which doesn't need to be cooked to be eaten, but fish, all fish on the map, will need to be cooked to avoid food poisoning. The second best method to get food early is wildlife such as rams. Rams in particular can be meleeed, so you can kill these with your fists. It will take some time and you will need a knife to skin one. You can travel up and down one of these dirt roads here until you see a small stone spawn on the ground. These can then be used on a rock texture to create a knife to carve the wildlife. When near villages, these dirt roads are usually connected to these dirt paths, with these dirt paths leading to the only clean water source in Sakhal, called water springs. These are the replacement for wells. Sometimes these dirt paths connect directly to the concrete road that surrounds the main island, this one here, which is the road that most player spawn points are located near. So as you spawn as a fresh spawn, you're going to probably see this road, but most of the time this concrete road will connect to a dirt road, which then connects to a dirt path, which will lead you to the water source. So to find clean water on Sakhal, you just need to find the concrete road, find the dirt road connected to it, and then find a dirt path, hopefully leading you to your water source. The second best way to get water on Sakhal is by filling a container with snow and then using a collating tablet on it to avoid getting sick. If you're super lucky though, you may have found a filtering bottle, and these filtering bottles can be used directly on snow to drink water as you go. If you don't have a filtering bottle or collating tablets, you can fill a cooking container with snow and then boil any cookable foods you have to increase the water value in that food. And as an FYI, this update comes with heavy nerfs to how much baked and dried foods will hydrate you. Consuming snow will give you heavy metal poisoning instantly, a sickness that will kill you in 40 minutes if you don't treat it. After reaching the stage where your sound is muffled constantly, if you constantly have this muffled sound, you are going to die in 40 minutes if you consume too much snow, boiled or otherwise. So even boiling it won't remove heavy metal poisoning, with the only cure for this being chelating tablets, making these tablets incredibly valuable on Sakhal. Some players believe that eating a little bit of snow is okay, but it drains 0.5 thirst from you every single second when you have this icon here. So even if you eat the snow, you're most likely going to lose that water. I haven't done the maths yet, but I will go into detail on that in a future video. For now, a bigger concern than heavy metal poisoning is this icon being blue for too long and you developing pneumonia, indicated by this heavy breathing sound effect. If you hear this on your character right now, go into the comments and type F and then press enter, and we'll see how many people just died, which kills you extremely quickly. The best cure is vitamins or keeping these 4 stats very high, which gives you immunity to the common cold sickness, which is where pneumonia comes from. The next best option is a preventative one, and it's simply not to ignore this being blue. If you don't have full white stats, you cannot afford your temperature to go blue. Try to keep it white at all times if possible, of course. And if your character sneezes or coughs, that's the early warning sign that you're close to developing pneumonia. If you're new to this map and surviving such extreme conditions, stick to coastal villages. There's loot, clean water, and it's much warmer at sea level. If you do want to explore the outer islands of Sakhal though, don't travel across the ice sheets. There's too many gaps to avoid swimming, and being wet in DayZ is the same as being naked, rapidly draining your hunger stat and probably giving you a cold too. Instead, loot sheds, vehicle wrecks, and industrial buildings found on the coast to get a spark plug, and then find a boat, which all spawn on the coast anyway. So as you're finding that spark plug, you can mark where a boat is, go back to the boat, and then sail to your desert island. When traveling by boat, by the way, avoid ice sheets as much as possible. They're a pain to navigate and will leave you exposed to attack from land and from players on the ice sheets. What works best for me is going around the ice sheet and then cutting through the ice sheet where I want it to land. It is much faster and safer in most cases, as long as you don't run out of fuel, in which case you can stick to the exterior of the ice sheets just in case you do run out of fuel, and you can use them as a bridge to get back to the land. I'll cover travelling to the mountains in another video, as it's a lot harder to survive up there, and I just wanted to remind people that they shouldn't feel bad for dying on Sakhal. This heat map shows that players with thousands of hours in the game are finding it a challenge. Look at all these fresh spawn deaths. You will adjust, as I'm sure these players have now. It will just take some getting used to. If you want to learn about the details of heavy metal poisoning or pneumonia, you can see these 2 videos, or if you're on the fence about buying this map, here's my Sakhal review here. A big shout out to Age M for the incredibly generous €50 donation recently. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck surviving Sakhal.